My name is Susan Boyle.
Okay, Susan, where are you from?
Susan Boyle's life is nothing short of a remarkable story of strength, resilience, and transformation. From a quiet life in a small town in Scotland to becoming a global sensation, her journey has touched millions around the world. But what makes Susan's story truly inspiring is not just her rise to fame, but how she faced unimaginable challenges, both in her personal life and in her health. After a sudden stroke in 2022, Susan was forced to step away from the spotlight, leaving her fans wondering what happened to the woman who once captivated millions with her incredible voice. But in 2023, she made an unexpected return, sharing a shocking confession about the years she spent in silence and the struggles she endured. How has Susan Boyle's story inspired you? Share your thoughts below. Let's take a look at her incredible journey, one that proves that with strength and courage, it's never too late for a comeback. Susan Boyle's early life was filled with difficulties that no child should have to endure. Born in 1961, her arrival into the world was marked by medical complications. Her mother, despite being told that carrying Susan could endanger both their lives, chose to keep the pregnancy. But this decision came at a heavy price. Susan's birth left her briefly deprived of oxygen, and doctors soon labeled her as having brain damage. This label followed her throughout her childhood, and at school, she was often ridiculed as a slow learner. The taunts and bullying she faced from her classmates only added to the weight of feeling different and out of place. At home, Susan's situation didn't improve much. Her father, a World War II veteran, returned from the war a changed man, angry, unstable, and often prone to violent outbursts. The family lived in a small, cramped home, and the tension was always high. Susan became the target of her father's frustrations, and the emotional and physical pain she experienced at home only made her feel more isolated. Despite these harsh conditions, she always held onto a deep love for her father, believing he was fighting battles within himself that he couldn't control. School should have been an escape, but it wasn't. Susan's struggles with epilepsy only worsened her situation, causing her to faint in class and making her an easy target for more bullying. She was given cruel nicknames, and instead of being helped by her teachers, she was punished with a belt. All of this left Susan feeling small, forgotten, and unloved. But even in the darkest times, there was something inside Susan that kept her going. It wasn't clear to anyone, not even to her, but Susan's spirit began to build quietly inside her, a quiet strength that would later shine through in unexpected ways. For almost 50 years, Susan Boyle lived under a cloud of misunderstanding. Everyone, from her family to her teachers, believed she had brain damage from birth. This label followed her throughout her life, influencing how others saw her and how she saw herself. But in 2012, at the age of 51, everything changed. Susan went to see a specialist, and the results of the diagnosis were life-changing. She didn't have brain damage at all. In fact, she had Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism. The relief she felt upon learning the truth was overwhelming. Finally, everything made sense. The struggles she'd faced in her personal life, the challenges she had with social interactions, it all clicked into place. The diagnosis gave Susan a new sense of understanding about herself. It was a powerful moment of clarity. She had always felt different, but now she knew why. More than that, she discovered that her IQ was above average, something that had never been recognized before. The truth not only set her free from years of confusion, but it also gave her the confidence to embrace who she truly was. It wasn't just a medical label, it was an opportunity to see herself as she always should have been seen, without shame or self-doubt. With this new understanding of herself, Susan began to view the world differently. She wasn't broken or less capable, she was simply wired differently, and that made her unique. This realization was a turning point for Susan. It sparked a new chapter in her life, one where she could embrace her strengths and talents without feeling weighed down by the misconceptions that had defined her for so long. As Susan's career began to take off, the pressure that came with sudden fame was overwhelming. Her rise to stardom was like a dream come true, but with it came a whirlwind of challenges, especially within her own family. The very people she had tried to help and support were now at odds with her. Money, which she had generously given to her relatives, became a source of division. Susan handed over millions, hoping to help her family, but instead, it only fueled deeper resentment and anger. Her family's broken relationships and constant bickering took an emotional toll on Susan, leaving her feeling trapped and misunderstood. The strain was so intense that her brother even made threats to her, leaving Susan worried and heartbroken. But it wasn't just her family that caused Susan pain. In 2000, her beloved sister Kathleen, who had always been her biggest supporter, passed away suddenly. The loss of Kathleen was a crushing blow that shattered Susan's spirit. For years, Kathleen had been the one person who truly believed in her, and without her, Susan felt lost. The grief from that loss was so deep that Susan couldn't bring herself to sing again. The voice that had once been a source of pride and joy went silent, and for 2 years, Susan withdrew completely from the world. She locked herself away in her home, consumed by sadness and despair. This heartbreak and emotional isolation didn't just impact Susan's personal life, it affected her professionally as well. The dreams she had once held tightly to, dreams of performing and sharing her music with the world, seemed like distant memories. But despite all the heartache and personal struggles, Susan's strength remained. In time, she would find her way back to music, but it wouldn't be easy. Her journey through pain, loss, and personal heartbreak became an integral part of her story, a story that would ultimately lead to one of the most inspiring comebacks in music history. In 2008, after years of silence, Susan Boyle made a decision that would change everything. She would audition for Britain's Got Talent. At the time, she was 47 years old, living in the same small house in Blackburn where she had grown up, and had never performed outside of her local community. Despite the doubts that crept into her mind, Susan was determined to honor a promise she had made to her late mother. Her mother had always believed in Susan's talent, and Susan felt it was time to prove to herself, and to the world, that she could do it. When Susan walked onto that stage, no one knew what to expect. The audience, filled with skepticism, rolled their eyes, and even the judges exchanged glances of disbelief. But when Susan opened her mouth to sing "I Dreamed a Dream," everything changed. The room fell silent as Susan's powerful voice echoed through the auditorium, capturing the hearts of everyone in the audience. The judges were stunned, the crowd gave her a standing ovation, and within moments, Susan Boyle became a global sensation. What had started as a simple audition turned into a viral phenomenon. Her performance was viewed millions of times online, and news outlets around the world covered her rise to stardom. But Susan's journey wasn't just about winning a competition, it was about reclaiming her place in the world. Her return to music was a healing process, not just for herself but for everyone who had followed her story. She had endured so much pain and loss, and her performance was a powerful reminder that talent, strength, and resilience could break through any obstacle. As she performed in the Britain's Got Talent tour, Susan proved that her success wasn't just a fluke. It was a testament to her inner strength, and the world took notice. Her story inspired millions, showing that it's never too late to chase your dreams, no matter the setbacks you face along the way. Susan Boyle's story is one of profound transformation, reminding us that strength and perseverance can lead to the most remarkable comebacks. After facing heartbreak, loss, and the intense pressures of fame, Susan found her way back to what she loved: music. Her return to the stage in 2023, following a near-fatal stroke, was not just a revival of her career, it was a triumph of the human spirit. Susan had fought through physical and emotional pain, working tirelessly to regain her voice and continue sharing her gift with the world. Her comeback was nothing short of miraculous. She wasn't just returning to her fans, she was returning to herself. With the release of new music and the promise of more to come, Susan showed the world that no matter how deep the scars or how challenging the journey, it's never too late to rise again. What lessons can we learn from Susan Boyle's incredible journey? Her story is a powerful reminder that we all have the strength to overcome life's hardest battles. If you found inspiration in this story,